Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. My name is Perla Suazo. I am from Honduras. I have been residing in Mexico since 2008, and I now live and work here as a teacher in a normal school. It's a school that trains teachers. These are students that want to become teachers, and specifically for indigenous communities in a specific curriculum or form of education, which is called intercultural and bilingual education. The title of my presentation is Network of Experiences for Transformation, initiating the development of a collaboratively designed intercultural curriculum in Chiapas. I will tell you some background information now. Okay, a little bit of context about this research. The research was conducted in the state of Chiapas, Mexico. As you can see in the map, it is located south Mexico, border with Guatemala. Chiapas is the poorest state in Mexico and the second state with more indigenous presence in the country. The first one is Oaxaca with 31.2% of its population, and Chiapas with 28.2%. Our normal school, that's how we call teacher training schools in here in Mexico, as I told you before. It's called Escuela Normal Indígena Intercultural Bilingual Jacinto Canek. We call them in short ENIP-JC. And it's located in the highlands of Chiapas in an indigenous town named Sinacantan. Our school only accepts, as you may get, indigenous students that come from indigenous communities from all around Chiapas. They must present a proficiency test, oral and written, in their mother tongue as an entry requirement, plus a knowledge standardized test as any other university applicant. Students in this school come from Mayan languages, such as, Mayan languages. And every year we have at least 7 indigenous languages in contact in our school, which are Celtal, Tzotzil, Chol, Tojolabal, Soque, Mam, Maya Lacandon, and Cachiquel. How this research came up, First, this is part of a research, what I'm talking about, but mainly the whole research came from a wonder or a question. This is an intercultural bilingual school. I mean, they see multilingualism, multiculturalism as central points in their training. But when they conduct the researches, in order to finish their degrees, their topics are mainly on reading and writing in Spanish, but not focusing on the importance of the context, culture, language. I understand that because many of them, after I conducted the research, I know that many of them are worried about how much Spanish students speak to have better opportunities. So this power language influences their topics of researches. That's what I understand now. But first, my question was, what are they understanding from interculturality? What are the meaning they give to interculturality and significance, and how does this impact on them? So, because their academic results compared to other normal schools when they enter university are the lowest, because they come from regions that are very marginalized regions. And this made me think of this research. The research questions or wonders that I followed during the whole process are these ones, but for this presentation we are only going to focus on the last one. I will read them anyway. The main research question is, what stories do students and graduates of the Intercultural Bilingual Indigenous Normal School Jacinto Canek, which we call ENIP-JC in short, tell about their educational journey in indigenous communities, and what do these stories demonstrate? The specific questions are, what meaning do students and graduates of the ENIP-JC attribute to intercultural bilingual education? Number 2, in what conditions has intercultural bilingual education been implemented that reflect the culture, language, worldview, and identity of the indigenous peoples of Chiapas? And the last question, and as I told you, the one we focus on, is how can the narrated experiences contribute to an initial reflection on changing a curriculum to embrace interculturality from within? So the objective is to understand how the narrated experiences can contribute to an initial reflection for a transformative experience-based curriculum that embraces interculturality through autogestion. I want to make something clear about this concept, autogestion. It is from an author called Hasberg, and he is as kind of self-management. It says that proposals should come from people, critical proposals, and autogestion means that proposals come from people through resistance and reflection. Okay, I'm going to start on how is this proposal constructed, or composed from a theoretical perspective and a methodological perspective. I won't take a lot of time on this because then I won't have time to explain the final curriculum proposal we are trying to make with these co-researchers. We have this point of view, theoretical, seeing school as an institution and its role in curriculum transformation, taking Castoriadis and Castell as main authors for this. Curriculum and didactics, ethical, political implications in a critical, decolonial, and experiential pedagogy. Well, this we take it from pedagogy of the South, taking Mignolo, Catherine Walsh point of view on the coloniality and critical view from Freire. And the methodological proposal, we say reverse or middle ground, curriculum transformation in opposite of poles through the network of experiences. What we mean here is that we have to start from bottom to top, from the people who care or who are in those contexts, what they want for their education, and then put it in common with what authorities want. Network of experiences, diversity as a central aspect for interculturality, a specific proposal for normal Jacinto Canek. This is what we're going to see. We want to take diversity as a main aspect of interculturality, and also a proposal that takes diversity, not only seeing diversity for people with disabilities, but also people who speak a different language, who have different form of learning, orientation, age, etc. Okay, now, how do we understand experience? Well, we kind of understand experience a bit from Dewey's perspective, but from many other perspectives as well. From Dewey's, we understand it with this continuum he proposes, specifically for education, and he says that experiences are interactions between human beings and the world, take into consideration perceptions, ideas, emotions, moments. All of these make an experience, and they are subjective and objective. Well, specifically on the continuum, he emphasizes on two principles, continuity and interaction. He also emphasizes the importance of the quality and connectedness of the experience in the learning process. When we talk about quality of experiences, we want to say that not all experiences are equal. There are positive, that's what Dewey says, there are positive and negative experiences. The first ones are educative, and the second ones miseducatives. So we should focus as teachers on the first ones. And about continuity of the experiences means that all experiences are interconnected and are cumulative. That's what he says. Okay, what does this mean? Interconnected is that each all experience built into the next one, to the new one. This is why we as teachers should take into consideration the quality of the experience. The previous experience we give our students will impact a lot in the experiences that come later. So about interaction, what learning is seen as an active process. That's what interaction means, where the learner engages with and act upon their environment, upon its environment or their environment. The interaction between the learner and their environment shapes their experiences and consequently their learning. So this interaction, this is social, which means is that we are not alone in this world. We share this world with other people. We learn from them in a social way. We also see this experience as from Heidegger's view with his concept of being, and being meaning not as an entity, a single entities, as he said, but as to be, as the existence of a person. And he has two specific principles, which is temporality and the same. The same means being there, means existence. And if there is existence, if there is experience, because there is existence. We also see it from Vergara's point of view and Giddens' reflexivity concept. We see it as an autopedagogical way of life, way of living from Hesketh, and many other more. Now, that's the theory, but we want to focus on people's point of view. So from the core researchers, that's how we call the people who helped us with this research. We don't see them as single objects that provide us with information, but as core researchers. They understand experience from their languages as Schnau-Sha, which means knowledge or knowing. That's how they see experience. First experience, they call them Chanem-Sha, and lived experience, Chilok-Sha-Sba. And they see it as something they have felt it. That's experience. It says, I have felt it. Lach-Ka'i. Lach-Kushlehan means I lived it. They understand experience as something they lived. Pashop, something they have done. Kilok, something they have seen. So experience for them is expressed as knowledge. I know, I have felt, I lived, I have done it, and I have seen it. All of these things linked to our senses is how they see experience and explain experience. As we want to create an autogestive region, this is also a regional study, which we can discuss later because we don't have a lot of time, but we made this methodological thing from taking their voices and their views. Here is where the proposal begins, and it's a curriculum of reflexive experience for Chiapas context. The proposal is to build a collective experience based on community's experience with education, intercultural education in what they want, parents' experience, teacher experience, experiences from the youth, experiences from the children, state level experience, and normal education experience. That's how we see it. Well, all of us, not me. The researchers, the core researchers, and myself came up with this. And this is what came up, a curriculum proposal for our specific normal. When I say specific, is our curriculum to prepare these teachers that are going to go to these preschools and primary schools. And for the bachelor's degree in intercultural, multilingual, and community-based preschool education, we want to focus on teacher experience and trainee teacher experience in service and students. And the experience they are going to put in for this curriculum, or they put in, was their experience as a normal education teacher, as teachers in diverse Indigenous contexts, as a member of an Indigenous group, trainee teacher experience as a student in K6, a student in higher education, a student in teacher training, a teacher in an indigenous context. And from the preschool, we are taking the school community immersion, capturing children's voices and experiences, capturing parents' voices and experiences, principals and teachers' voices, both for preschool and teachers, and that will make the curriculum framework for basic education, because this has to come as a whole. Not the trainee teacher formation has to be linked to what children are going to be learning in preschools and primary schools. So primary school teachers in service have to have a curriculum that is linked to that background and profile for specific indigenous teachers. Okay, now this is the proposal based on the experience of former students from Jacinto Canek school that we came up. What is happening first? In Mexico, there is this process happening now. It's a construction of a curriculum framework for basic education and for normal education, so teacher training education. And it's a co-design between all different intercultural normal schools around the country. They unite online, in presence, and they are teachers with experience in normal education, but intercultural bilingual education, who are gathering together to create proposals. But, sorry to say, this is a critic I have, they are not taking into consideration the points of view of students from normal education or teachers that are in those basic educations in indigenous community. So what we want to propose here is this proposal for our normal school. Even though we cannot do a lot, this proposal is for a space they are giving us, which is called curricular autonomy. This is one course every semester that we can take and propose something we want specific for our normal school. So this is what our core researchers, my core researchers, myself as a researcher, came up with after all this time that we researched and that we conducted these narratives, autobiographic narratives, because the method we used was narrative inquiry. And after they have this reflective process on how was their life as a student from kindergarten until university with this intercultural bilingual education, and the needs they saw when they were children and now that they are in service and when they go to practices, are the following. They said, well, a curriculum has to be interconnected, and we have to take into account aims and objectives, or aims objectives, the fields of knowledges, characteristics of graduate profile, professional knowledge, and thematic universe, all the topics that we have to take into consideration. But in general, the proposal they came up with, based in their necessities and based in their stories and the reflective process they came up with after this writing process of what they lived during their entire educational life, formal educational life, is this. As I told you, we have this specific space called curricular autonomy that we can add whatever we think is the best for us in our context, in our school, for our education, and for our specific people in basic education. And they said, in first semester, we need to focus on elements of narrative inquiry, using the narrative inquiry, for their personal life story. First, they have to go deep into their life, reflect what was their life for, know what they are, who they are, that being from Heidegger that I told you before, to understand what is around them and how these things have impact themselves, so they can now go into the next step and understand others. So the first topic, the first thing is elements of narrative inquiry in my personal life story. The second one is my culture and the culture of others, inquiry into context and experiences in second semester. In third to sixth semester, attention to diversity, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Seventh to eighth semester, multifactorial research topics. that has to be with the thesis, dissertation they have to take. And from the problem to the final text, that's how they call it. The thing is that they propose starting from themselves, then do know the culture, know the context, and inquire into communities experience, children experience, parents experience, know what is around them, then focus topics specifically from third to sixth semester that attend diversity, such as uh, gender, uh, gender things, you know, um, such as children with special needs because they don't have the preparation, diversity such as multi-grade level education, how to attend them. Most of the schools here in Chiapas, 76.6% to be exact, are multi-grade, and teachers are not trained for that, especially in normal intercultural bilingual normal education, and they always go to those kind of schools. They need preparation in that. Also, attend people, children that speak different languages, because in their school they want to uh, improve learning and take into account children's language. So how to do that? I mean, different topics related to diversity. And it says here, it integrates multiple bodies of knowledge, specific, and this includes specific observation, identifying study cases, elaborating intervention proposals, everything like that. And the other one is multifactorial research topics. Here they will research on topics they are interested on related to culture, context, and special educational needs. In short, this is it. If you have any more questions, because I ran out of time, you can contact me. Thank you very much.